Okay, the meeting's back in session. All right, Pete, you're on.
Good morning. Well, just to get started, well, we're gearing up for the arrival of the water. What I've done is I have scheduled employees to start working weekends, effective next weekend. And I have also set up a graveyard or a night crew to assist Robert with any problems or weeds or anything he might have. There's a couple of flumes that also will have to be replaced here as soon as we get done with these bigger projects. Right now, we're still working on the drains. Right now, we just got 2 excavators and 2 mowers working on the drains. I'm getting ready to start moving equipment around and start putting these excavators back on the drains to continue with the drain program. Here's just a couple of pictures of what we got going. Most of these pictures are on the Mesa spur drain, and one of the Numexis drain also. We've been on the Numexis drain here in the Upper Valley, I would say probably about a good month. But I only got 1 machine up there, so it's a slow process. These are just kind of some before and after pictures. That's right there right at Coker. This is over by Moon Road. So just to kind of get you an idea, we're still out there with these drains.
Not all the drains are flooding.
You know, we got a good compliment yesterday in one of our meetings on some of our drains that they're looking real good. This was the drain they were speaking about, the Mesa. Also, we've gone in there and we mowed the riverside, something we do every year. This is the only time I get to actually mow the riverside, so when I got water out of the system, because I actually have to mow it from inside the channel, since I can't get on the banks. So this has been done here this last month. The flumes and Lowenstein checks on the project we had going up here in Alameda, the checks have been completed. Right now, we have started fabricating the gates themselves. We kept the old gates in place just for the water season. Once we get them completed, I'm thinking next year we'll demolition the old gates and we'll start using the new gates. This is the gates that were all funded by TxDOT. That's kind of what they look like after. You still got to go back in there and install rails and so on and so forth. This is the Shotcrete project. It was a total of about 3,000 linear feet. So once you look at it, it's actually 9,000 feet that we have to pour. And it was a tight schedule. I've been working the guys 12-hour days. They're getting ready to drop. But I've been working them 12-hour days, 6 days a week, just to make sure we complete this project. And the way it's looking right now, we should be done with this project by today. We will be pouring the last 12 trucks, because we're doing a total of about 12 trucks per day. We've got 2 crews out there, so it's a total of 24 trucks that we're doing today.
I mean, typically, your production from when you started to now, what are you doing? Linear feet or
well,
length or?
What takes the longest on me again is the earthwork, trying to narrow the channel. That's what takes a little longer. Some areas take a little bit more time than others. A lot of times I can bring the banks in and roll them over to where I can narrow the channel. Sometimes I got to haul dirt in. And this one here was a little tricky because of all the construction that's going on.
Right.
TxDOT's also redoing Alameda. So we were limited to only 1 lane. But as far as the shotcrete itself, we're doing approximately 300 feet a day of shotcrete.
Compared to when you started, I think.
Yes.
Like what?
And the quality of the work, you're gonna notice some of these pictures, it's a lot better.
From when we started.
Yeah, these guys are they've gotten very good. We found a.
This isn't a fiber reinforced, that truck
Right.
speaks for it.
This here, once we lay the liner, we'll lay the liner, we'll form, and then we'll start, this project here, we started putting panels that were ordered, I believe out of Arizona. And these guys got the signs on it pretty quick too. They started putting the cookies and everything before we laid them in. This is the way we started. We began with just doing one side, just to try to get started with the shotcrete. Eventually, we got ahead of the game to where we already had liner and rebar, and everything was in place by the time the shotcrete came around. You know, there was liner on both sides. These are the little sections in between the entrances to the parking lot there at, where the academy is at. And you can see the panels are already installed. The only thing we haven't installed is the floor, because the guys are actually walking in and out, and I don't want them tripping over the rebar on the floor. So that's the last thing that comes in. And you can see it here. Now we've done both sides, just no rebar on the floor. We'll come back after they pour both sides, we'll come in here and we'll put the rebar in the bottom. This is what it's looking like after we're done. Granted, all this floor has been completed also. Now, this is another section that we're gonna go ahead and jump to, probably, actually starting tomorrow. We'll complete this other one today. We'll jump over to this one here. This one here is about 500 linear feet. This is over by Delta, by the buoy. This is over where that, was it Texas L that put those boxes in?
Yeah, we put a big siphon in there.
Yeah, so it's a total of 500 feet. Hopefully next year we'll get something done with those railroad crossings, something that L and J and Mr. Reyes are working on. And if that does happen, I'll come back, I'll cut the shotcrete, we'll tie into the new boxes, and then we'll continue working on downstream. This is a big problem here. This is one of the areas that we get about 3 to 4 feet of silt every year. That's that new bridge that was just constructed.
As Pete said, this is a 2-year project, so there may be, there's certain areas obviously are gonna be better, but, you know, just because you do this doesn't mean the sand goes
I was
away.
gonna say, does it mean the
So,
sun's gone?
so we're both, Pete and I are both, and Robert not so much, so we don't want, Robert close his ears right now, because Pete and I can talk. Worried that we're just moving, but we've got 2 culverts that have to be replaced next year downstream. We would have done it this year, but there was a lot of legal reasons that we didn't get there. We think we're gonna actually potentially make those a little worse, and so we're gonna have to monitor them pretty close. We have to clean them out. There'll be plug points, is what will happen.
So for now, we're gonna go ahead and narrow this section out. It's about 500 feet. And I'm hoping to do this by tomorrow and complete it by Friday. So I should be out of there by Friday.
That's actually one of the plug points right there at the bottom of the picture. You can't quite see it.
Right.
One of the what points out?
But where we expect a lot of sediment to accumulate.
Oh, plug.
Question, when you have turning on the canals and you're doing all this, is it fair to say that you're doing survey points to make sure that we got the right angle and
Yeah.
that we didn't line it in the wrong place? Because a lot of times, if I understand this correctly, it shifts sometimes over time. And you can actually have a canal thinking it's in our property, but actually may shift like 5 feet over, and then you may have to. Does that happen quite often, or is that?
Well, yeah, no, it's not, and it's not, it's not, we also have adverse possession of those for the purposes we use it for. We can't change the purpose we use, but if we have moved over, most of them established, that have that shifted many, many years ago, and, so a lot of times we don't change the center line even if it's shifted, because we do have possession of the property. Occasionally, working with somebody, if they're paying for it, we'll move it back over. In this case, it was all surveyed. Texas paid for it to be, we had a very formal survey, so he knew his center line. We didn't have any shifting in this, you know, that's one of the oldest, that alignment goes back to 1856.
You've been restricted from shifting because of that.
Also,
Go.
early on, I don't know if everybody knows it, but on both sides of that canal in there, at that location, the reclamation went back, I almost want to say in the 60s, it might have been in the 50s, I don't know, Robert, we never found the documentation. They put in the slurry walls on both sides, buried slurry walls, so that stabilized that area. But that goes back to, you know, remember a good portion of that canal, not too far from there, is now in Mexico, but we at one time owned it when it was before the Chalmers owned it.
Before the Chalmers owned it.
Yeah, but that actual alignment, because of this legal issues we had to do, we did the deed research, and that alignment has been there since 1856.
We were there before the railroad.
And we use a lot of monuments, we use a lot of monuments that we
That
don't.
center line of that canal is as best we
And
can
we
tell.
Right,
Where-
but when if we're shifting, and we already established that we normally, slurry or whatever, out of our legal realms, right?
No, typically if we have any shifting, we never shift out of our right of ways, we're just, the O&M road gets,
Right.
the embankment slope gets out of our right of
Right.
way. And then and that little piece that's out, the 5 feet, is probably about as worse as it gets, right?
We get challenged by developers all the time where they go in and survey and
Yeah.
put their stakes up on our.
They're saying that that's ours. or-
Yeah.
Well, technically it is their land, but we have a right to use it
Right.
and to maintain it for the purposes that we're using. Because most of the spots you're talking about, we've had 50, 60, 70 years,
Right.
and we can show continuous use and that nobody's ever come to us and done what they need to do. And adverse possession for a government entity in Texas, I assume in most places, is unique too. We have better, the government gets better adverse possession conditions than a private entity does, so. And we've been able to protect it all from the legal.
Right. And one of the developers asked me once, he says, well, what are we gonna do? I said, make your backyard a little smaller.
You know, if
Up
we've shifted typically over 70 years or something, there's usually somebody else that shifted with us, so us trying to shift back
Yeah.
usually doesn't work. So, you know, but we have, in some cases, we have shifted back, where we
It's in a
challenge.
case-by-case basis,
Yeah.
basically.
Ones we put underground, we shift back real fast, because we don't need as much right away, and so we shift the underground ones, but the pipeline ones.
That's all I have, gentlemen. You'll be seeing the mowers out there here probably Monday in every unit, so right now I just got a couple out there, but coming Monday, you should see all the mowers out there. I did see that our
When you say
canals are
all,
starting to get a little,
What is all?
all the ones in the internal system, all the ones on our canals.
How many do we have now?
We got 12 now. Mowers.
I remember we only had 2.
Well, we have some drain mowers, and then we got the smaller mowers are for the internal system, for the delivery system.
Oh, okay.
The ones in the delivery system, those are the ones I'm talking about.
Oh, okay, I'm
The
thinking.
drain mowers haven't stopped, you know, other than if they have a breakdown, but the drain mowers have pretty much been out there all winter.
Art observed that New Mexico, as part you were cleaning, didn't have any water in it. Is that in an area that's had a lot of urbanization up there? Just
No,
north?
actually, most of those pictures were from the Mesa and Spur, Mesa
Oh,
Spur.
okay.
Yes.
So that's in this, up here by the,
The one with no water didn't have, was the Mesa Spur.
Yeah, the New Mexico is running pretty, maybe about 2-3 feet of water.
Yes.
so Mesa Spur's not running because Ben's not.
Exactly,
irrigating?
that's right below where Ben's at, yes. Yeah.
So that's where the nursing home and everything?
Yes.
Yeah.
And then the
That's new, because there's no water in it.
Horizon sends very little water. Remember that
Yeah.
deal that we made with them? That they're sending that water into their golf course now.
Okay.
They call it Emerald Lake.
Yeah.
Anything for me?
It smells like emeralds.
No?
Good job.
Nothing for me? No?
Thank you,
Job
Pete.
job well done, Pete.
Great job, man.
We'll wait till the mustard grass starts coming up.
It's coming. It is, it's already coming up.
You can call them forcefully.
We only used to have one shotcrete machine, we got 3,
Coming a long way, man.
and even with those 3, it really helps because when we started that shotcrete, we were only doing 5 trucks a day, now we're doing 11 with one shotcrete, that's how good the man got. It's a lot of work, but they get it done. And back to running water, we had our meeting with EPCWID this week, last Thursday, and the EPCWID was well supportive as far as helping us with the river. They're ready to help us put water in the west side, east side canal, so everybody's on board. They're ready to help us out Sunday, but we told them that we're not gonna divert up the Lucia Dam until Monday, so by Monday morning, the latest Monday afternoon, they'll start using water in the state. So we're gonna practically almost divert the lower valley and the upper valley about the same time. You know, we'll wait till the water gets here. If it happens like last year, it got here Sunday afternoon, Sunday night, Monday morning, it was ready in the canals and ready to go. Then we diverted unit 6, but everything as far as getting with EBID and the meeting was, you know, the Bureau, everything's ready to go. We're ready to release at 6 o'clock on Friday morning. We're starting off with 500 feet to get those people out of the park, to make sure they're not in the river. And then we're going out with 2,000 and then see what happens from there. And
What about your orders, Robert? How much more?
this morning, Johnny, we had 22,000 acres ready to go.
As compared to last year was,
Last year, at this time, when we started a little bit later, it was about the same. But unit 6 and unit 7 acres are not that big yet, and especially unit 6, but once they see water at the canal, they'll start coming in. And the farmers been calling and they get excited because they all wanna be first. I think we'll have plenty of water.
that's a change. That also started in 1860 or whatever you said.
1859.
They all wanna be first, and they say, guys, we'll have plenty of water for you guys, and whatever you want, you just gotta understand, it's gonna be a little up and down first couple of days, because we don't know what the river's gonna do to us, how much water it's gonna take, and stuff like that, but it takes us about 2-3 days, we'll settle the river down, get Mexico to come in here, pick up their water on Tuesday, because Mexico's not gonna pick up their water on Monday, but Tuesday they'll pick up 100 feet, and then Wednesday they go up to 177. They like to start off slow. The PFBs, they also start off slow because they can't introduce the water into their system too fast because they'll bust pipes. And this warmer water to the cold water they got in the system right now will break their pipes, so they'll start off slow. Bustamante Rogers can start up a lot faster. So all that's ready to go and just getting everything ready to start up.
Now it's gonna go back to work.
Been working, Johnny. I've been having Pete up, Pete with the winter maintenance. And,
I'm
the
kidding.
American Canal, like Al says, that they'll eventually start putting the water back in, probably Friday. And the only one that worried me a little bit, it was the Wasteway 2 on the Riverside Canal by the I-Zeros. But they have the gates in, and that's the most important part, and they'll put the rest of the cement today, and we'll be ready. Whether they're operational or not, I don't know, but it doesn't matter.
Who did that work? The boundary didn't do it themselves, didn't it?
No, they hired.
They had a contractor.
Yeah, who was it?
It was,
Meridian?
Meridian? Yes.
They're the same ones that are doing the work in American Canal Stream.
Yeah, we leased our surplus Clinton yard.
Right.
Street.
To the,
What happened to that one young bunch of guys that did some construction work for us, a young bunch? They did a great job, I'm trying to think.
Hawk.
Hawk, yeah.
They're still around. In fact, Hawk's doing the job at the Franklin heading, because believe it or not, the company that was hired dropped the ball. Al got after him, and so anyway, they brought Hawk on board, and Hawk's finishing
They were
it.
real good, I
They-
just wondered if.
They do great work.
Yeah, there was, because that was a design build, so they didn't have to go through any of the subbidding process, because it's a different process, so we're directly with Kiewit, and Kiewit, Abrams was the managing firm, and they were doing a lot of construction on overpass, and they asked us how to get them out of trouble, and said, go hire these guys, and they did
Yeah,
a
that's
great
good.
job.
Yeah.
That was about a $2 million project. It was a
Good.
big project.
Hawk's the one that did our Partidor project.
Yeah, I remember that, and they did a great job, and I just wondered.
These guys, they know, it's such a difference, you know, the range of dealing with contractors, and Pete can vouch for this, is just, it's unbelievable. You can have ones that can read your mind, know how to do engineering, they look at the plans, they go, they understand it, and the other ones that just sit there scratching their head for weeks, you know? So we got these guys, I don't think we would've, I think it would've been a,
You know, while they're scratching their head, they're thinking of excuses why they didn't get it done.
I guess. I don't know what they're, you know, some of them will think at times, so.
And last, units 8, unit 9, you know, we've had return flow in them, so most of the canals in unit 8 and 9 have been flushed out, they're in good shape. The ones that I've been getting calls are concerned, unit 7 and unit 6, they're a little bit on the dirty side, but something we learned last year with me and Pete, there's a lot of tumbleweeds, but we can't burn in those units. So what we do now, we put the mowers in there and we'll mulch the tumbleweeds. And it
Reduces
works
the
out.
size tremendously.
It's helped a lot, and this little rain that we had this weekend doesn't help, because it makes the mustard just grow like a banana.
Yeah, little
Unit
raise.
7, it's a little scary, Unit 6, but, Pete, like you said, Pete said, you know, he'll start diverting his man with the mowers out there, and we'll get it. We did it last year, past couple of years, we'll get it again this year, so tell the farmers, we know the problems out there, you know, we'll attack them, we'll get the water.
And just tell the farmers to call you, Robert.
Yeah, and I'm telling you, I would carry a business card with me. Here, you can
Call in.
But that's all I got to say, guys. We're ready to go and see what happens. We only got 3 new ditch charges out there, and they seemed like pretty good men. We put them out there in the shotcrete, and they looked at it like, what did I do to get this job? But they didn't run, so.
They'll appreciate being on nice
Yeah.
service for the ditches, right?
Yeah, so we're ready to go. That's about it.
All right, thank you, Robert.
Thank you.
You gonna do J stuff?
Yeah,
Number 12.
well, we've got 10 licenses,
Before we start, let me ask you, is there any of them any different than the other?
They're all the same.
Group them all
These are
together.
identical, we've done about this many or more with the same company. These are aerials, a lot of them have to do with feeding fiber line to schools. It's a thing we support. And they are paying a commercial fee, that's one of our, not the discounted fee that we use for taxpayers, but the full fee. So there's quite a bit of revenue. They are small, because they're aerials, they're only a 10-foot easement. Very little impact on us. They're all at
When you put them all
14.5 feet
together,
high.
They're not any of them any different, nothing that sticks out.
There's one that's underneath it.
Well, there's one that's a boring.
But other than that, it's the same thing.
Same easement, same rate, same fee, same license, slightly
The
different
first one is
survey.
underground and everything else is aerial.
Yeah, they're all the same company.
Yeah, that one's bi-directional drilling, so it's right back. More feet
I
below
would
the
entertain a motion to approve application 2000, 2001, 2003, 2004, 2008, 2009, 2010, 2011, 2012, and 2013. Do I hear such a motion? Indar makes a motion.
I'll second it.
Larry seconds, all in favor say aye. All in favor, opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Let's go into closed session. I guess you don't have it in here and then turn it on. No way.
I probably have